China's yuan is at its highest level against the US dollar in 2.5 years. The People's Bank of China has set the currency's daily fixing rate at 6.9438 yuan to the dollar. And the yuan has been steadily strengthening against the greenback over the past few months. It's now the third best performing Asian currency since the end of September. The yuan's rise has been driven in part by a weakening dollar and a wider loss of confidence in the US currency as well as in US economic policy. Well, Matt Maley is Chief Market Strategist at asset manager Maley Tabak. Great to have you on the programme again. Matt, the yuan's been quietly gaining ground. What's really behind this move?
Well, I think there's a couple of different things. First of all, we saw that last week that Chinese regulators were, or actually the beginning of this week, I'm sorry, that Chinese regulators have been telling banks to lighten up on their positions, whether it be U.S. treasuries, U.S. stocks, also Bitcoin and other assets. And so, you know, this thinking that there'll be some repatriation back towards China has helped the yuan and rise and the dollar fall. But it's not just that situation. We've also seen the situation with the dollar versus the yen has gotten significantly weaker, and the dollar has gotten significantly weaker. And this has to do with some of the budgetary issues facing Japan, but also other countries around in Europe and of course in the U.S. So they're all kind of combining to this situation where people are moving away from the dollar, and I think this is something that will continue as we move through the coming months.
It sounds like what you're saying, this is more about dollar weakness than yuan strength, because those are two very different narratives. Which one are we really looking at?
Yeah, I think it's the dollar weakness issue. Again, part of it is what's going on with China. But again, I think the biggest issue that a lot of people really aren't focusing on when it comes to what's going on in some global markets is this big rise in long-term interest rates in many different countries. Japan has been the obvious one, where interest rates have more than doubled in the last, let's say long-term interest rates have more than doubled in the last 10 months. They've gone way up in France and in the UK. All three of these countries have severe budget issues. You know, everybody has said for decades that budget deficits don't matter. Well, now they do, and they are starting to be reflected in certain markets. And as people become concerned about that and be concerned about the similar issues to the in the US, not as severe, but similar issues, they're moving away from dollar assets.
If the yuan continues its climb, I mean, who wins and who's going to start to feel the squeeze? Is it exports? Is it emerging markets, commodities?
Well, I mean, it's funny because in a short-term basis, it helps the U.S. I mean, the exports become cheaper, people buy more, and that helps over the near term for the U.S. But it doesn't help over the longer term because it makes us less competitive. That's number one. Number two, yes, the weaker dollar is good for is positive for emerging markets. It's positive for hard assets. Now, I've been pushing the hard asset theme for many months now, and so not just gold and silver, which I think are starting to rebound nicely and will continue to do so, but I think for hard assets overall, and don't be afraid to look at the energy sector.
What could stop this rally in its tracks, do you think?
Well, I mean, some of the things that I think one of the things would happen here in the U.S. as we get a new chairman of the Federal Reserve. That'll take place in May. A lot of people are worried about his independence and the independence of the Fed under President Trump. If Mr. Warsh, assuming he gets he was nominated, but he hasn't been verified yet. But if he is, and if he can show that he is going to remain as independent as the Fed has been in the past, that should buoy the dollar a little bit. But again, it's something that I think is going to be very difficult to track over as we go through the year. And longer term, let's face it, the dollar's been dropping in general for a long time now, and it's just starting to get to an issue where people are really starting to notice in a bigger way.
Matt, thanks so much. Matt Maley from Maley Tabak. Pleasure having you on.